Swaddy Krap, welcome to the Thaiger and Thailand News Today, our afternoon recap of all the main news stories around Thailand, and welcome to the shrubbery. And a big shout out to Andy Goodson. Thank you very much, Andy, for being a member of the Thaiger. Really helps us, and for everybody else, you can subscribe. That will really help us as well. But for now, let's get started with today's main news stories. Thai Health Minister Anaton wants to reassure the public that images of crowds packing into Bangkok's Bang Sua Grand Station might be deceptive. Anaton says that viewers might be deceived by camera angles or whatever that gives the viewer the false impression that there are large crowds at the station. Yesterday, Anaton said he could confirm the camera trickery because he goes to the station 4 days a week. He says the place is only crowded in the morning, but when he got there it wasn't crowded. He then dropped his bombshell that camera angles or whatever can make the place look crowded. So to prove the health minister's point, here's another camera angle, and another, and another. Ooh, here's another very deceptive angle, and another. In fact, here's some music while we enjoy some of the more deceptive camera angles and some video. The minister went on to advise people who want to avoid large crowds should show up for a vaccination in the afternoons. Sleeper trains in Bangkok are being converted into isolation facilities for COVID-19 patients who are waiting for a hospital bed to become available. With the current surge in cases today hitting a record high of 17,669 infections, hospitals in Bangkok are running low on beds to treat patients, including ICU. At the Bang Sua Grand Station, 15 sleeping cars will become temporary isolation areas for those waiting for a hospital bed to become available. Each train car has 16 beds, allowing 240 people to isolate themselves at the railway station. The isolation centre will be open to new patients from tomorrow. Thai media organisations have issued a joint statement calling on the government to lift restrictions on freedom of expression imposed under the emergency decree. The statement was issued yesterday by the National Press Council of Thailand, the News Broadcast Council of Thailand, the Thai Journalists Association, the Online News Providers Association, the Thai Broadcast Journalists Association, and the National Union of Journalists. The statement urges the government to remove restrictions being imposed on freedom of expression by both media outlets and the general public under the emergency decree. The decree was recently extended until the end of September. It's now been extended 13 times since it was first introduced in March last year. The PM has responded to the media statement by ordering authorities to enforce the restrictions against all media outlets, websites and media personalities who continue to spread what he calls fake news. But media organisations claim the instruction is just another attempt to silence both the public and the media, accusing the government of failing to communicate with the people. The United States has confirmed it will donate 2.5 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine to Thailand. Thai-American Senator Tammy Duckworth made the announcement during a webinar on Thai-US relations. It's understood the donation is part of a pledge by the administration of US President Joe Biden to provide vaccines for developing countries. The US has already donated 1.5 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine to Thailand, with the Thai government pledging to administer 700,000 doses to every frontline healthcare worker in the country. Despite the assurances, a group of medical workers and other concerned persons have called on the US to oversee the distribution of the donated vaccines in order to hold the government to its word. The long-awaited Pfizer doses are now expected to land in the kingdom tomorrow, with the US Embassy planning a press conference to confirm their arrival. 150,000 of those doses will be given to foreign residents and 40,000 doses will be used to study the vaccine's efficacy against new variants. We'll be back right after this break. Cambodia is planning an 8-province lockdown with provinces that border Thailand. That lockdown starts at midnight tonight. The measure is in order to curb the spread of the Delta variant in their country. PM Hun Sen says the lockdown will ban people from leaving their houses, gatherings in groups and conducting business, with the exception, curiously, of people who work in the airline industry. He says the lockdown is a temporary measure to prevent the community-based transmission of the new variant. The border checkpoints with Thailand will be closed, but will allow the transport of goods or in the case of emergencies. The lockdown's projected to go until August the 12th. Koh Samui has recorded its highest one-day jump in COVID infections since the southern island reopened to international tourism. Officials have confirmed 20 new cases, but insist the development will not affect the island's Samui Plus reopening program. 16 of the new infections are a cluster linked to a cashier at a local gym. The other 4 cases are a family of 3 and a foreign national recently arrived from Bangkok. With the reporting of 20 new infections, officials have issued an appeal for anyone who visited the island's Black Bamboo Club on July 16, 17 or 23, or visited the Speedy Lounge and Bar Night Spot on Lamai Beach on July 16th to come forward for testing at the Koh Samui Hospital. The district chief of Koh Samui says the new infections do not threaten the island's reopening, adding that charges are being brought against entertainment venues that remained open after the legal closing time. Marine police seized 30 kilograms of methamphetamine from a squid boat drifting on the Andaman Sea between Thailand's Satun coast and Malaysia's Langkawi Island. Only one person was on the boat. The man, who's a Satun resident, was detained and taken to the mainland for interrogation. Reports do not say what charges the man faces. Marine police in the area spotted a suspicious vessel and discovered the boat was registered as a squid catching vessel. It was even rigged with the bright green lights used to attract squid. Officers searched the boat and found 30 kilograms of methamphetamine, which reports say have a street value of around 6 million baht. One thing they didn't find, though, was any squid. And one durian delivery truck driver is finding herself at the centre of ridicule after blaming her GPS for her truck getting wedged in an impressive wheelie under an overpass in the main city area of Chonburi yesterday. She was on her way from Rayong province to Surat Thani with her, slightly overloaded pickup. She claimed she was using her GPS to navigate through the town, but it gave her incorrect directions and she got lost. She was on her way from Rayong province to Surat Thani with her, slightly overloaded pickup. She claimed she was using her GPS to navigate through the town, but it gave her incorrect directions and she got lost. When she was travelling along road number 7 and tried to travel under the overpass, she somewhat underestimated the height of her load. The result lifted her 2 front tyres completely off the ground, her truck wedged in a frozen wheelie. Now she's able to enjoy a cavalcade of social media shaming as her oversized load of durian has become an internet hit. That's all the main stories from around Thailand. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to join the conversation, please go to Thaiger Talk. You can find a link to that under any of our stories at thethaiger.com. In the meantime, have a fantastic evening. Jet's back again with tomorrow's Thailand News Today, and we'll see you in the morning with Good Morning Thailand.